usually we're not honest with ourselves about what we want. We tend to fudge the truth to ourselves because we want to avoid emotional pain. Really, if you're not feeling it with that particular woman anymore, and you're thinking, I want to go out and I want to kind of play the field, you probably should break up with her. And the reason is because if you're feeling like that now, that feeling's not going to go away. You know, I mean, once you start feeling like that, it tends to remain. Okay, that feeling, and it tends to remain. It tends to grow. You know, you feel like, oh, I'm not sure I'm really feeling this anymore. And then as time goes on, you start to feel even more like that. Look, I'm really not sure about this woman now. I really don't. And ultimately, you can start to resent her if the relationship continues for that long. You're kind of putting off the inevitable in a way, because the truth is you don't really want to be with her. If you're feeling sort of like, I'm not too sure about her anymore, you don't really want to be with her. You might as well just cut it off now. You might as well cut your losses. But then it doesn't really matter what I say, because whatever I say, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. And in the most part, you're probably just going to stay with her for the time being anyway, because it's easier to do that. It's the path of least resistance to just stay with the woman, even though you know in your heart of hearts, yeah, we're probably going to have to break up at some point, but you don't want to do the breakup because the breakup's painful. You don't want to upset her. You don't want to upset yourself. So you're going to carry on seeing her anyway, and then you're going to go behind her back and cheat or whatever. And look, I'm not making any moral arguments around that. I mean, that's up to you. That's what a lot of people end up doing. But is it what you really want? Not really, no. Not really, no. On the other hand, and just to counter what I've just said, in other circumstances, it might be what you want, because most guys want a combination of security, emotional security, plus variety. Okay? Emotional security and variety. And in a conventional monogamous relationship, it's very difficult, actually impossible, to get those two things, because, you know, one woman, the one thing she can never give you is variety. No matter how many wigs and sexy different outfits she puts on, she's still the same woman. Okay, she can't give you variety. She can, however, give you a feeling of emotional stability, because you've got her to come home to. She looks after you, she nurtures you, she cooks and cleans and does all that stuff, and that feels very nice, but it doesn't have the excitement. So then you want to go out and you want to meet other people, and that is how you're going to find, you know, the variety. That's how you're going to find that excitement. Okay. So if you're not fed up with her, you still love her, you still find her physically enticing, enchanting, whatever, you're still into her, but you also want a bit of extra variety as well. That is just natural. That's just how most people feel. Most guys feel, and a lot of women as well, to be fair. But depending on the promises that you've made to her at the start of the relationship, or depending on the implied promises, more importantly, that have been made, which is probably along the lines of, we are a couple, and therefore I don't cheat, therefore you are my one and only, and I'm not going to go behind your back. Then if you do go behind her back, then you're cheating, and you're being a bit of a scumbag, and she's not going to be happy if and when she finds out, okay? So, in all good conscience, I can't recommend that that's the course of action you take, as I say, because we're all selfish, aren't we? You know, we all want to have our cake and eat it. We want to have that emotional stability, but we also want to have the variety. And the way that, in the end, most guys get to it, unfortunately, is by cheating, or is by blurring the truth, or by lying through omission. You know, yes, I was on that business trip. Did I meet any women there? No, of course not. I was in the hotel room thinking of you, honey. That kind of thing, you know. And look, this has been part of European tradition for centuries. You know, the powerful prince or politician or king who has mistresses, you know, and then he has his wife, and that duality is very, very common in the most civilized society. Okay, that's how most people end up operating, and it reflects this dual requirement that men have, this dual requirement for stability and variety. Okay, but should you be doing that? No, not really. You shouldn't. What you should do, and what we should all do, is break up with the main girl and be willing to, or become proficient in being emotionally stable on our own, and then just date around. No strings attached. That's really what you should do, because that's the fairest way of doing it. Then you're not lying to anybody, you're not going behind anyone's back. Now, where this is perhaps different is if you've actually sat down with the woman that you're with, or if you set up the relationship to be open. If you sat down with her and said, look, this is going to be an open relationship. I'm going to be sleeping with other people. You know, I love you. You are my main girl, but I am going to be playing the field, and you either accept that or we break up. If you've had that conversation, then that's a little bit different, and that's fair enough, and, you know, go with it. But what I would say is that sort of relationship, for the most part, obviously it can work, but for the most part, those kind of relationships don't last very long, because in the end, that woman is likely to want more from you, and she is likely to seek to strengthen the relationship, to stop you from playing around, and to say, look, if you carry on with this, I'm going to have to leave you. And then often the guy's going to cave, because he's going to be like, oh no, I don't want to lose her, so I'm going to stop all the messing around. And then it leads to monogamy anyway. Okay, so I don't believe those relationships, for the most part, are sustainable for that long. You can get away with it for a bit, but not for that long, okay? But probably you haven't done that. Probably you haven't set up your relationship in that way, and probably what you've done is you've just gone into the relationship, or the implication has been that this is just going to be a normal relationship, and now you're thinking, oh yeah, but there's a lot of cute girls out there, I wish I hadn't done it. And that's on you, I'm afraid. And as I say, really, you should break up with her. But it's your decision, and you're probably not going to break up with her because it's coming up to Christmas and it's a bit cold outside and it's nice to have something to cuddle up next to, and you're a bit of a pussy. So there you go. That is the answer. But it's not the one you want to hear. And as I say, it doesn't really matter what I have to say about it anyway, because you're ultimately going to do what you want to do. And probably you're going to make the mistakes that we've all made, and you're going to hurt some people along the way, and you're going to hurt yourself. And then you're going to get yourself into the same situation the next time around again, ad infinitum, like Groundhog Day. But really, you shouldn't. Really, what you should do is you should be a free agent, and you should be honest and upfront with everyone you meet, and you should set it up in the sense of, look, I'm a free agent, I travel around, I meet different people, and, you know, we can meet and we can have fun, and I like you and I respect you as a human being, and you're fantastic, but it's not going to be anything more than that, okay? And that's just how it is. That's what you should do. Anyway, if you have been affected by any of the... If you've been affected by any or all of the issues that I've talked about in this blog, then what I want you to do is to drop me an email, try@realtryfrancis.com, or get on my Calendly. There's a link below, and you can book a free call with me, and we can have a chat, we can talk about it, we can figure out if I can help you, maybe with a bit of extra coaching, or, you know, some Zoom calls, or some kind of tuition to help you through these issues.